I came home early that night, rain dripping from my jacket, my briefcase heavy with exhaustion and a headache that refused to die. I wasn't supposed to be there. The business dinner had ended abruptly, and all I wanted was to see my wife, to sit beside her, maybe share a glass of wine and unwind. The house was dark except for the faint glow bleeding through the crack beneath our bedroom door. At first, I thought she'd fallen asleep with the TV on. Then I heard it, low murmurs, a muffled laugh that wasn't hers alone. My chest tightened. That laugh, his laugh, echoed like a memory I didn't want to recognize. My boss, Daniel Reeves. For a few seconds, I stood frozen in the hallway, my mind fighting to reject what my gut already knew. Then the sound came again, sharper this time, breathy, intimate. My hand trembled as I gripped the doorknob, the world narrowing to that single moment between knowing and breaking. When I opened the door, the image carved itself into my mind like a wound that would never close. Sheets tangled, her body half covered, Daniel's shirt draped over the chair I'd built for her reading nook. They both froze. "Michael," she gasped, scrambling to cover herself. Daniel's eyes went wide, and for the first time since I'd known him, the man who barked orders and smiled through deceit looked small. I couldn't speak. I just stared, every word, every excuse she'd ever given. Late meetings, exhausted nights, crashing together into a brutal truth. He had the nerve to stand. "Mike, listen. Don't," I snapped, my voice shaking. "Don't say a word." I walked out before I did something that couldn't be undone. Rain lashed against the windows as I stood outside, the cold biting through me. My wife ran after me, her robe fluttering like some pathetic flag of surrender. "It just happened," she cried, tears streaming down her face. "You've been so distant lately, and don't you dare blame me for this," I said quietly. I didn't yell. Couldn't. The fury was too deep, too precise. "You brought him into our home." That night I slept in my car. Over the next few days I played my part. At work, I smiled at Daniel, nodded during meetings, let him think I was too broken to fight. My wife tried to talk, to explain, but I gave her nothing. Inside I was planning. Not rage-fueled chaos, something cleaner. Lesson. Daniel had secrets, ones I knew because I'd helped bury them. Fraud, bribes, company money funneled into personal accounts. I'd been his right-hand man, the one who made things disappear. But not anymore. I spent nights gathering evidence. Emails, transfers, voice recordings. I watched him crumble piece by piece in my mind, the same way my marriage had. My wife, meanwhile, kept pretending normalcy. She made dinner, smiled weakly, touched my arm like nothing had happened. Let her. The confrontation came a week later at the office. Daniel called me in, smiling his politician's smile. "Mike, glad you're back in the game. You know how these things go, emotions, mistakes." I placed the folder on his desk. "You should read that before you finish that sentence." He frowned, flipping it open. His face drained of color. "What is this?" "Proof," I said. "Of everything. Money you stole. People you paid off. Emails you shouldn't have sent." "You wouldn't dare," he whispered. I smiled faintly. "I already did." By morning the company's board had everything. Daniel was suspended pending investigation. The press got the story 2 days later. But the revenge didn't stop there. My wife had been part of it too. Expense reports under her name, trips she'd taken for work. I leaked enough to tie her into the mess without exposing everything. Her job let her go quietly, with a non-disclosure agreement. The night it all came crashing down, she confronted me. "You destroyed both of us," she screamed, her voice cracking. "No," I said. "You did." She slapped me, tears streaking her face. "You could have forgiven me." "I tried," I said. "But every time I looked at you, I saw him." We stood there, two strangers bound by what used to be love, the silence between us more painful than her betrayal. She left that night with a single suitcase. Weeks passed. The world moved on. Daniel's downfall became news. My wife vanished into another city, and I told myself I'd won. But victory felt hollow. My house was quiet, too quiet. Her laughter, the faint scent of her perfume on the sheets. Ghosts that refused to leave. Then one evening there was a knock at the door. A police officer stood there, hat in hand. "Mr. Langford," he asked softly. "We need to talk." I already knew before he said it. Daniel was dead. Car crash. Or so it seemed. Until they found my wife's bracelet in the passenger seat, and blood on both airbags. My hands went numb. "She was with him," I whispered. The officer nodded. "We think they were arguing. Beating. Lost control." After he left, I sat alone in the dark, staring at the rain tracing down the window. The same kind of night I'd come home early. I thought I'd taken back control, that revenge could balance betrayal. But all I'd done was set two broken people spinning toward their end. I replayed her last words, the way she'd screamed that I'd destroyed us. Maybe she was right. Maybe we both had. The news reported it as an unfortunate accident. I never corrected them. The folder, the lies, the secrets, it all stayed buried. But sometimes when the house creaks at night, I swear I hear her voice. Not crying. Not angry. Just whispering that single word I can't escape. "Why?" And every time I answer the same way. Too late, too quiet. 'Cause I thought revenge would heal me. It only finished what betrayal began.